Okay, are we ready for the next spread? This was an idea that I had that came about from my love of metallics and this kind of recent fascination I have with things that are rusted. I think that's kind of a trend. So a lot of us are interested in that. And then a few years ago, I was taking a class with Seth Apter, and he pointed out that cracked pistachio is a fantastic color as a patina. And so I kind of got this idea as I was working on this book. What if I could do kind of like a metallic background and use the Oxide inks to make some kind of a patina? So I'm starting this page. Flip over here. We've got our fresh page. I'm going to start it with some distressed paints. I have the antiqued bronze and some tarnished brass. And the antique paints, the distressed paints are a favorite of mine for whenever I want to do just a really quick background, because they're so fast and easy to put down on the paper. I'm going to start with the antique bronze and just scribble that on. I am not too worried about what this looks like right now. I'm going to blend it all together. Okay, I've got that in there. Now let's get our tarnished brass. This one, I need to get this one with the sponge top as well, but I'm just going to go ahead and use, you know, sometimes your finger makes the best paintbrush. Just get that in there. And I'm working very quickly because the air is so dry here where I live that this paint will be dry before I can get to it with my baby wipe. So I've got a wet baby wipe. It's got a little color on it. I'm not worried about that. And I'm just going to start to blend these together onto the background. And I imagine if you gessoed the paper, you could experiment and get a lot of different results in how that would look and how really metallic you could make it. But for what I wanted to do here, this was plenty good. So you could see how quickly get a nice background there. So I'm going to go ahead and dry it, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I've got a dry painted background here. Now I'm going to take out my cracked pistachio Oxide and get my little sponge blender, and I'm going to start kind of creating some areas here where I want to have it sort of see if I can make it look like a patina on metal. Let's see where that goes. Set that aside. Now let's go ahead and activate the ink. Get things moving. And I'm using plenty of water here. I really want a nice oxide effect. All right, layer one is down. I'm gonna dry. Okay, let's try some more. I'm also going to go ahead and get some browns on here because I want a little bit of a rust. Plenty of that, and now I want to bring back the cracked pistachio again. Being careful because green and orange, I don't want them to blend too much. A little bit of brown if they blend here while I'm wetting and drying in the same layer is fine, but I don't want a ton. Let's go ahead and get out the stencils. I'm going to use my Art Deco border stencil. And this one, because I'm doing metal, this one was inspired by a fence. So I'm going to do this because it's kind of like a metal fence. Let's go ahead and put that on there. So I'm going to start by doing the background with a brown ink. Let's go ahead and go with walnut stain. Now I've got that down once with the distress ink, and I want to go again with my Distress Oxide. And I just wanted to have a little bit more of that ink in the background soaking into the paper so that the lines of the stencil would stay just a bit more distinct once I add the wet. Now I want to go ahead and bring back Seth's number stencil again, because this one is just, oh, there it is. This is just a lot of fun to use the elements from here just to get some added texture and words and anything that you might like onto the design. Call the stenciling done. And one more spritz. One more dry. Now it's time for me to frame the page. And I need to put this first. It's more tissue tape because I want to get the edges with the ink. There we go. That whole thing is nicely framed. And I'm just going to use, just this time I'm going to use the regular collage medium. And another, I just need a yucky brush. Be careful here because I did not seal that, so it will take my stenciling right off the page if I'm not careful. And then if you are going to use wet medium on top, like I'm doing right here, and you don't want to have to worry about your stenciling, that's where you go ahead and pull your Distress Glaze back out, coat the entire thing with it, and then you can collage on top, do whatever you want, and you are ready to go. It may be a good idea to just do that just to prep the page. Alright, there we go. Now I've got 2 more pages in my book that are ready and waiting for some more art journaling.